Hello, it's JewelyBlue and I'm back. I took an unintended little break, but I couldn't stay away. I missed you guys too much. Unrelated to this video, but just today, the White House put up a picture of Senator Barack Obama with a white turban on his head in a white Somali-looking outfit. Go take a look. Hunter Biden's there too. Yep, on whitehouse.gov. But now it's time to refocus on someone we've been waiting for. Rachel Chandler. No one knows Chandler's background. Some say she's from the LA Times newspaper Chandler family. I don't believe this, after having done hundreds and hundreds of hours of research on her. I just don't believe her name's actually Rachel Chandler, because then brilliant anons could go out there and get all this information on her, and I don't think that's what they want yet anyways. I mean, come on, her name's Rachel Chandler and she's a child handler? No, but child handler does begin with 3 and 8. But maybe we should be paying attention to her initials, 183 or 3883, a variation of. When you Google Rachel Chandler, you'll see how they use the well-known TV show Friends, two characters, names, Rachel Green and Chandler Bing, to make searching for our Rachel Chandler difficult. If you compare the TV show Friends to what we know of Rachel Chandler's life, you may, like I have, realize the show appears to be very related to Rachel Chandler. The show was used, in my opinion, to calm either for or by this Rachel Chandler. And on that note, I made a part 1 and 2 video on this, Friends plus Rachel Chandler part 1 and Friends plus Rachel Chandler part 2. Now, her initials. 38 is a variation of Rachel Chandler's initials, which are 183. RC 183. I've said her initials are why she is key, or maybe why her initials are an unspoken calm. In my opinion, I think letters and their corresponding numbers are how the deep state expresses specific pedo information to each other. I think it's also one way our side speaks to them, a way to threaten them publicly or talk to them, get information to them publicly that only those two sides would understand, because we haven't been let into this loop yet. I've been laser focused on 38 primarily, but also 83, 183, and 318. So early 2025, when Elon introduced a new system on X that some users were interpreting as an X score or a social credit system, and the majority of us Anons had a score of 38. You can imagine my shock. Of all the numbers in the world's focus was on number 38. What are the odds that I'd been watching and waiting for news to unlock, and then Elon did this? And then the whole X score thing just kind of stopped. Is it still happening? I haven't heard a thing about it since. Or was that intentionally in a new cycle to highlight something that's coming? I guess we'll see. Now, still talking about 38, on December 13th, 2024, or 12/13, Dan Scavino posts only this, 38 days, insinuating that in 38 days it'll be President Trump's inauguration day. The day Scavino posted this 38-day post was the day California finally certified the 2024 election results. Now, can we just take a moment to really take in how a whole state can take even one day, but 38 full days to do what entire countries do in hours? Okay, back to every 38 days in 2024. 38 days before this 12/13 day that Scavino posted was 11/5. That was election day. 38 days before 11/5 election day was September 28. Hurricane Helene and Hezbollah's leader was killed. 38 days before September 28 was August 21st, the day Kamala accepted the Democratic nomination, and oh my God, did we miss a bullet here. Speaking of bullets, 38 days before August 21st was July 14th, which was one day before the assassination attempt on Trump, which was July 13th, so missed it by a day. And 38 days before July 14th was June 6th, which is D-Day, World War II. Maybe all these 38-day jumps are coincidences? I don't think so, because it seems like there's big things that happened or happen every 38 days. I just don't believe in coincidences anymore. I've also wondered if 38 or 83 or 183 variations of Rachel Chandler's initials are how they get through back doors, like something called the digital website technique, because the IWF Internet Watch Foundation discovered a technique in 2011 where they identified commercial child sexual abuse websites which only display the criminal imagery when accessed by a digital pathway of links from other websites. The pathway is like a trail of breadcrumbs. When the pathway is not followed or the website is accessed directly through a browser, legal content is displayed. This means it's more difficult to find and investigate the illegal imagery. It also means that criminal enterprises online are receiving legitimate banking services, as checking their website won't automatically reveal the criminal content. Makes me wonder if this is why the L and the D in children were switched by Trump in his October 8th, 2012 tweet. So Chandler has a D and an L. Should we be looking at her initials and swapping those two letters? Q also does this with NK in darkness in Drop 97 on November 5th, 2017. It could, I guess, reference North Korea, as some have suspected, or could it be another example of how to bypass normal digital pathways to get to what's behind them? Kind of like what we were taught about James Comey's last name, Corny. So I'm not totally barking up the wrong tree here, because we know that they do play around with letters in different ways, and in Comey's case, so that we wouldn't be able to locate him in searches, right? Okay, now this one is where I get more confirmation of my 3883 theory. Drops that show Alice and Wonderland. Alice and Wonderland, instead of in Wonderland. I believe there are 26 drops referencing the and sign instead of the word in, as Lewis Carroll wrote it. Okay, quick explanation here. ASCII. It's a character encoding standard that assigns a unique numerical value to basic English letters, numbers, and symbols. Q swapped out the word in for the ampersand sign or and sign. Now take a guess at what number value is assigned to the ampersand sign. The Unicode decimal value of the and sign is 38. Another coincidence? Or may I be onto something here, maybe? And consider this. We've all learned that Alice in Wonderland is associated with Saudi Arabia, Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, Bloody Wonderland, children, Huma Abedin, who's now married to Alex Soros, George Soros' son. So that's a nightmare, but you see how this keeps confirming itself. And it is allegedly Rachel Chandler who took the pics of the monitor below Jeffrey Epstein's temple. Though, I've heard some say they've matched some of the monitor pics to an underground restaurant called Le Baron, that has locations in New York, Paris, and Shanghai, owned by a man named Andre Saraiva, Saraiva. The vibe at the Le Baron restaurants, the three of them, was the same as Purple Diary, Comet Pizza, Standard Hotel, Avant Eclectic, Boom Boom Room, pushes the limits kind of places with constant complaints from the public for odd behavior. Le Baron restaurants and its owner are tied closely, believe it or not, to the Standard Hotel and Andre Belesh. Matter of fact, Belesh was a financial backer of Le Baron. See how they're all twisted together? It appears all three restaurants closed down by 2017. He opened the first club Le Baron in a former Paris brothel in 2004. In early 2006, he opened New York's Le Baron in Manhattan's Chinatown at 32 Mulberry Street. Then Shanghai restaurant was opened in late 2006. Now this here says Le Baron New York was a 3-level nightclub, and Drop 3402 says, I see at least 3 staircases. That one kind of got me. Here's something sick. New Year's Eve 2012, Le Baron New York had men dressed as bunnies in rabbit suits manning the outside front line to get in the restaurant. Because that's normal in this world with these people. Well, I guess it is kind of normal in this group of people, because you might remember the Podesta brothers having artwork that showed these men wearing creepy white rabbit suits, and even Chandler Bing on the TV show Friends, he wore a pink bunny suit in one of the episodes. And white rabbits take us right back to Hillary, Saudi Arabia, Wonderland, and don't overlook Hillary's initials, which are HRC. That would be 8183. The Red Cross initials are 183. The Swiss Red Cross is 19183. Tom Hanks, remember this? Tom Hanks' Instagram pic of the glove, it says SRC, then USA. SRC is the same as the Swiss Red Cross, 19183. So what was he really doing? Was he telling people where to go or how to communicate, or how to talk? And here's a side note I learned while I was researching. The Red Cross flag is actually the reverse of the Swiss flag. Where have we seen that before? Oh, that's right. George Soros is Antifa. In my opinion, we haven't paid enough attention to Switzerland's involvement in their whole evil plan to control the world. They're very involved. Oh, and speaking of Antifa, did you guys see what leaked this week on the communist Zoran Mondami? I have a feeling we're going to start seeing some pretty terrifying leaks on this guy. But if you want to wake up New York and push us towards that precipice, an actual communist in government is an excellent way to do it.
We came here to remake this state in the image of our people.
This is no different than when we caught Ilhan Omar at the riots in Minnesota. Remember that? Also with her face covered. Wasn't she there with her then boyfriend, now husband? To clarify, when I say husband, I don't mean her first husband, which was her brother. I mean her third husband, the white guy who she left her second husband for. If these people knew what they were doing was good and moral, they wouldn't have to cover their faces while doing it. And no, this isn't like ICE. They're saving our country while the left-wing loons are doxing their family. But I digress. You can't tell me initials don't matter. There's 2 brackets with an R and a C right in the middle. Then there's this. Q asks, who is Rachel Chandler? Is Rachel. Remove the CH in Rachel. CH is 38. And it says Israel. I don't know. Is that a stretch? I don't think so. Drop 3138 is all Rachel Chandler with Eminem, Diddy, and a couple fashion moguls. Drop 83, I showed you that earlier, talks about Hillary, Alice, and Wonderland. And the and sign is 38, don't forget. Drop 831 says misspellings matter. Oh, then there's this. Q spells out HRC vertically in drop 1001 with a picture of Epstein's island, showing the importance of initials once again. Q also talks about overrides, and that sounds like what I mentioned earlier in this video about bypassing the normal digital pathway to get behind normal websites to the bad stuff. Q keeps telling us you have more than you know, which makes me think if we can figure out how this key works, we'll open up the Valhalla of information that's been locked in front of our eyes just out of reach, where they've left all their evidence right in plain sight. Also consider this. President Trump has said he's declassified Russiagate, JFK. I think aliens, maybe I'm wrong about that. A couple other things, I believe. And we got nothing. Or we got redacted, useless files. I think this is part of the reason why the military will end up having to take over, because when the President of the United States is unable to give important information to the public because those who've infiltrated are holding it from us, making it so we can't protect ourselves from it. If we knew the code or the key to unlock it all, then we'd be able to retrieve what they're hiding, maybe what he's declassified, and locate where they're hiding their communications from us. And before I get to the part of my video that inspired my reason for making this video, I wanted to go back to the monitor pictures that Rachel Chandler allegedly took. Look at the floor in monitor 12. You see those squares with light or white around them? Look how similar the carpeting looks in the LeBaron room where the staircase meets the floor. And the staircase looks eerily similar to the staircases in monitors 7 and 11. I'm going to need to study these closer. About 3 years ago, I also found a similar staircase at Disney in Sleeping Beauty's castle. I put that in my Nuclear Land video that you can find on Rumble and BitChute. My account on both is my name, JewelyBlue, JewelyBlue. But here's the kicker for me. Those light bulbs around that window at LeBaron and monitor pictures 15 and 16 make me question everything I thought I knew of those monitor pictures Rachel took under Epstein's temple. The light around the window is so unique. I've always believed 15 was one side of the window and 16 the other, because people appear to be looking at or through the 15 window, and the people in the room in monitor 16 appear to be sitting and talking, which sounds very Paris brothel. And the Paris Le Baron was said to have been a brothel before becoming Le Baron. I think the window is a two-way mirror for the sickos to see without being seen. Okay, so my actual reason for making this new Rachel Chandler video, because I've made many before, just go through my Rumble and BitChute to find them. Something caught my eye and attention the other day. I found the letter Leon Black supposedly wrote to Jeffrey Epstein for Jeffrey's 50th birthday, entitled The First 50 Years. Leon Black has since had to step down due to his relationship with Epstein, but he was co-founder and CEO of private equity behemoth Apollo Global Management. The second paragraph of his weird poem to Jeffrey said, 5 decades, L, or half century, by birds and by bucks, C and M's are his key. Hopefully that caught your attention too, and you can see why I heard brakes skidding in my head as I read it. C is 3, MS-13. Maybe this is a stretch, and I understand that some people aren't going to understand why I keep focusing on initials and corresponding numbers, but I promise you, I know I'm onto something. News just hasn't unlocked enough yet for us to know a whole lot about Rachel Chandler. But I did find this interesting. C is 3, MS-13, right? September 2nd, 2025, a meeting of the Committee of Rules in room H313 of the Capitol. Now that would be H8, so there's our 8, and 313. The meeting was scheduled to consider a House resolution to direct the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform to continue its investigation into the government's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell case. This falls easily into my active theory I've been sharing with you in this video. I haven't cracked the code yet, but I believe what Leon Black wrote about Epstein's key has huge meaning. I think transforming letters to numbers and vice versa is common for all of them. I mean, it's basically a watered down version of cryptography, which has been used in war for ages. And we're in war right now. Then there's this. Allison Mack had been arrested April 20th, 2018 for her participation with the sex cult NXIVM. She was the Ghislaine Maxwell to Keith Raniere, the cult's leader. March 20, 2019, Q dropped number 3155 with some frightening pictures and the words, "Rachel Chandler is key." So I began looking for pattern recognition of doors opening as a result of this Rachel Chandler girl being some kind of key. Q's next drop on the same day was 3156, and it said, Ray Chandler =, Allison Mack times 100. Why did Q remove CHEL and replace it with Y? Higher loyalty? Guess we have to wait and see on that one too. I began searching for Rachel Chandler in every way possible with no luck. My searches kept pulling up the two characters on TV show Friends, Rachel and Chandler, and an older woman named Rachel Chandler, who with her husband had been captured by Somali pirates who held the couple hostage on land for 388 days. You caught that, right? 388 days. A key is meant to access or unlock something. Q had said you have more than you know. So I tried searching for numeric value of Allison Mack's initials. A is 1 and M is 13, so 113. Alongside the numeric value of Rachel Chandler's initials, R is 18 and C is 3, so 183. And on my first search for 113183, this is what was at the top of the search. Public Law 113-183, dated September 29, 2014, the Preventing Sex Trafficking and Strengthening Families Act. There is no way, I mean, the odds would be almost impossible, to have taken the initials of two high-profile sex traffickers, put them together, do a random search, and come up with the exact crimes against children they both committed. See why I think Rachel Chandler's initials are what enables us to find the "you have more than you know" information? Do you remember that account on Truth Social and X, Spiritual Street Fighter, who posted, and posts still today, memes of President Trump with Q stuff in them? President Trump reposted her Trump Q posts, but not just one or two. He reposted her 38 times. What are the odds? And then on the show Absolute Storm with Stormy Patriot Joe, or True Stormy Joe on X, and Real Ab 1776, they found a bunch of 38s as well on their episode 211. Don't forget, drop 38 is a big one for us. Q uses NG, which I assume means National Guard. Q also uses the initials NK, which we assume is North Korea, and finishes with the calm before the storm. Back to Switzerland for a sec. Did you know the ISO country code for Switzerland is CH? Not SW or SZ, it's CH. Why isn't China CH? Why is China CN? CH is 38. I mean, most other countries have two logical letters. Then they try to tell us it's because of Switzerland's Latin name, which in English is Helvetic Confederation, and because once again, Switzerland is neutral. Whatever. We've been programmed since we were in elementary school to believe that Switzerland is neutral, right? We didn't get much info on other countries, at least we didn't in Los Angeles, California back in the day. But we sure were made to remember that Switzerland is neutral. Up is down, left is right, left is left. Want to bet Switzerland is anything but neutral? I know it's difficult to buy into theories with little sauce to prove them, but most of us have bought into the drops that provided just breadcrumbs, as I've tried to do also in this video. Then of course we have to rely on our sharp discernment, what our gut tells us, because God gave us gut feelings for a reason. And also we have to use logic. The pieces fit together here. I'm certain news will unlock enough to finish this puzzle, and I hope you'll remember this video when it does. And last, Tomorrow will be October 28th, 2025, which will be 8 years since Q's first drop, which was at 4:44 p.m. Eastern, and it was reposting a 3:33 p.m. Eastern post that said, Hillary Clinton will be arrested between 7:45 a.m. - 8:30 a.m. Eastern on Monday, the morning on October 30, 2017. So, should we be looking for a 5:55 p.m. Eastern drop to culminate Hillary's arrest? Something's coming, because just today, October 27th, 2025 at 4:09 p.m. Eastern, General Flynn posted this. Storm clouds are on the horizon. We're inching closer to that precipice fast now. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Have faith. And where we go one, we go all.